next I have the flowchart of the isomer relationship. As you can see, if isomers are the compounds having the same chemical formula but different same molecular formula but different chemical structure. So does that mean the same connectivity? If yes, they are stereoisomers. If no, they are constitutional isomers. I mean the structural isomers. Now stereoisomer. Is bond breaking possible? If yes, it is a configurational isomer. If no, then it is a conformational isomer. Now coming to configurational isomers, if they are non-superimposable mirror images, they are enantiomers. If they aren't, they are diastereomers. And if they differ in arrangement around an immovable bond, then they are cis and trans. So next you can see I have shown a compound and I have shown you how to understand it is a enantiomer or a diastereomer. So you can see here is the R2-chloro S3-fluorobutane, and this compound is the S2-chloro R3-fluorobutane. So how to determine R and S? R means the compound is clockwise and S means the compound is anticlockwise. So here is the R and S configuration. You can see this R is turned to S in this, and this S has been converted to R in this compound. Since they are totally opposite, but they are non-superimposable mirror images, that's why they are enantiomers. When can you call this a diastereomer? When only any one of the configuration is changed. Either our RS is changed to SS or RS is changed to RR. In that case, as you can see, this is a diastereomer, and again SS is a diastereomer, and again SS and RR are enantiomers. They are enantiomers when complete configuration are opposite of each other, and they are diastereomers when at least one of them is the opposite of the other. This is a small exercise which you can practice if you want, and here is the answer key. So for geometric isomers, I would like to mention that there is a restricted rotation of the double bond due to the pi bond, which means that they don't really interconvert, which I had sent previously in my flowchart. This number 4. You can see this is the cis and this is the trans. So this is the cis butane and this is the trans butane. This is a very common form of butane structure, and you can see these bonds are not interconvertible around the double bond, and hence these are geometrical isomers. Due to the pi bond, they are not interconvertible. So next up, I have the chirality of molecule, which is a very important part, and here we will study about the introduction, stereoisomers, conformational isomers, which include straight chain and cyclic, orientations, axial and equatorial, configurational isomers, and mesocompounds. So what are stereoisomers? Stereoisomers have the same molecular formula and connectivity of atoms in their molecules, but different 3D orientation of their atoms in space. And what are enantiomers? Enantiomers are non-superimposable mirror images, and the term itself always referred to pairs, and majority of biomolecules and one half of the used medications used in human medicine exhibit enantiomerism. The most common cause of enantiomerism is the carbon bonded to 4 different groups. So next up, I have the conformational versus configuration. So what are conformational isomers? Wait, I will just take my laser pointer. So what is conformational isomers? Conformational isomers or conformers differ in rotation around single sigma bonds. As you can see here, the CH3 is down the axis, and here the CH3 is turned upside above. They are just interconverted by single bond rotations. And what are configurational isomers? These isomers can be interconverted only by breaking bonds. As you can see here, Br is present on the dashed side, and again here Br is present on the wedge side. That means, as I had said, dashed means inside the paper and wedge means out of the paper. They are configurational isomers since they can be interconverted only by breaking the bonds. And conformational isomers just differ in rotation around single sigma bonds. You can see H and CH3 are connected by a single bond, and they have just changed their places. So, talking more about conformational isomers, they are in fact the same molecule, only at different points in their natural rotation around single sigma bonds. They are just at the same position, as you can see, just the points have been changed. So while double bonds hold molecules in a specific position, as explained with 6 trans isomers later, and even previously I had explained you with the help of the butane, single bonds are free to rotate, unlike the double bonds. So conformational isomers arise from the fact that varying degrees of rotation around single bonds can create different levels of strain. You know about the cyclic structures, so to increase the strain, that's why they have a angle breaking strain. They have a maximum angle strain. Conformations is easy to see when the molecule is depicted in a Newman projection, in which the molecule is visualized along a line extending to a carbon-carbon bond axis. So what are straight chain conformations? For butane, the most stable conformation occurs when the two methyl groups containing C1 and C4 are oriented 180 degrees away from each other. As you can see, I have shown above the diagram, this is the anti-staggered Newman projection of butane, and the butane has been shown from the point of view of the C2 to C3 bond axis. Why 180? You must be thinking why it should be 180 to have the most stable conformation. In this position, there is a minimal steric repulsion. You can see there is a minimum steric repulsion between the atoms, electron clouds, because they are as far as they can possibly be. Because when they are near, the negative charge on them creates a repulsion, and due to this it becomes unstable. Thus the atoms are the happiest. By happiest I mean they are most stable because they are in the low energy state. Energy is inversely proportional to stability. Because there is no overlap of atoms along the line of sight. Besides C2 and C3, the molecule is said to be in a staggered conformation. Staggered conformations are generally the most stable ones. Specifically, it is called the anti-conformation because the two largest groups are anti-periplanar, in the same plane but on opposite sides to each other. This is the most energetically favorable type of staggered conformation. Next up, we have the gauge, eclipsed, and the totally eclipsed. So here you can see that the C2 are oriented 180 degrees away from each other. Next up, when you rotate the atoms by 60 degrees, it comes the gauge. More 60, it is the eclipsed, and 0 when it is totally eclipsed. So stability of the straight chain conformational isomers. So degree measurements indicate the angle between the two largest substituents above the carbon-carbon bond. The other type of staggered conformation, called the gauge, means unsophisticated or awkward, occurs when the two largest groups are 60 degrees apart. As you can see from this diagram, it is clearly visible. When the two methyl groups directly overlap each other, as in this, with 0 degree separation, the molecule is said to be totally eclipsed and is in its highest energy state. Totally eclipsed conformations are the least favorable energetically because the two largest groups are syn-periplanar to each other. You can see they are in the same plane and on the same side. That's why they are the syn-periplanar. And anti-periplanar, you have learned here, they are in the same plane but on the opposite sides of each other, since you can see there is a mirror axis between them. And this is the same syn-periplanar because they are in the same plane and on the same side. So here is the potential energy versus the degree of rotation. As you can see, this energy is the lowest, this eclipse is the highest, and the gauge conformation is not so stable. So next comes the cyclic conformations of the cycloalkanes. So cycloalkanes can be either fairly stable compounds or fairly unstable depending on the ring strain. As you just saw, two atoms near to each other causes repulsion, and in a ring this causes the ring strain. Ring strain arises from three factors: angle strain, torsional strain, and non-bonded strain, sometimes referred to as the steric strain. Angle strain results when the bond angles deviate from their ideal values by being stretched or compressed. Suppose you know that the tetrahedral should be 109 degrees 28 minutes, but sometimes they deviate from their ideal values, and this causes the strain, angle strain. Torsional strain results when cyclic molecules must assume conformations that have eclipse or gauge interactions. Non-bonded strain or van der Waals repulsion results when non-adjacent atoms or groups compete for the same space. Non-bonded strain is the dominant source of steric strain in the flat pole interactions of the cyclohexane Bode conformation, which is a very famous conformation. Here you can see there is a van der Waals strain. So both its the Rin strain is 7 kilocalorie per mole, and there is a minimum annual strain and torsional strain because some CC bonds are eclipsed, and van der Waals strain is due to the flat pole interaction. This is the eclipsed carbon, and this is the flat pole interaction van der Waals strain. So next up we have the conformations of cycloalkanes. To alleviate the strain, cycloalkanes attempt to adopt various non-planar conformations to reduce the strain. Cyclobutane putters into a slight V shape, as you can see here. Cyclopentane adopts what is called an envelope conformation, which is this. Cyclohexane exists mainly in three conformations called the chair, boat, and the twist or the slew boat forms. The most stable conformation of cyclohexane is the chair conformation, which is this, which eliminates all the three types of strain. So the axial equatorial orientation of cyclohexane in its chair boat and twisted boat conformation are as follows. The hydrogen atoms that are perpendicular to the plane of Rin taken up or down are called axial, and those that are parallel to the Rin are called the equatorial. The axial equatorial orientations alternate around the Rin, that is, if the wedge on C1 is an axial group, the dash on C2 will also be an axial, and the wedge on C3 will also be an axial, and so on. Here you can see the planar structure. There is a severe annual strain of 120 degrees, severe eclipsing strain, all bonds, and there is a small steric strain. To reduce the strain, we have the boat conformation. Here we have the slight annual strain, eclipsing strain at only 2 bonds, and steric crowding of 2 hydrogens, denoted by the red hydrogen. Twist boat conformation and the chair conformation. The chair conformation, you can see there is no angle strain, no eclipsing strain, and no very small steric strain. So here I have prepared a small figure of the cycloalkanes with the molecules in the 3D structure. You can just go through it once and you will get an idea of how the energies vary and how the energies look like. So here you can see the axial hydrogens in blue become the equatorial hydrogens in blue, and this happens in the chair conformation. Sometimes this is the cyclohexane Rin inversion, when this carbon is twisted up and this carbon is twisted down, then another chair conformation happens of the same image. So you can see this. Next up we have the inversion of the cyclohexane. Cyclohexane can undergo a chair flip in which one chair form is converted to the other. In this process, all the axial groups become equatorial and vice versa. All the equatorial groups become axial. All the dashes remain dashes and all the wedges remain wedges. This interconversion can be slowed if a bulky group is attached to the ring. Tertiary butyl groups are classic examples of bulky groups on the MCAT. For substituted rings, the bulkiest groups will favor the equatorial position to avoid non-bonded strain flat pole interactions with axial groups in the molecule. Here you can see the axial and equatorial position on cyclohexane, and the chair flip is shown. Here in a chair flip, the axial components become equatorial and vice versa. However, components pointing up, that is the wedge remains the wedge and down dash remains the dash.